Early this morning, Melbourne time, the Australian-born Mary Donaldson became Queen of Denmark as her husband Frederik replaced his mother to become King Frederik X. They sealed it with a kiss in front of a crowd estimated 100,000. The King got quite emotional, wiped away a tear, and he promised Danes to do what kings should do: unite.
At blive en samlende konge af i morgen. Det er en opgave, jeg har nærmet mig hele mit liv. Det er et ansvar, jeg tager på mig med respekt, stolthed og stor glæde.
I see many Australians, especially Tasmanians, loving the idea that even one of us can rise to royalty.
Good luck to her. Good on her.
Good on her.
Good on him. Yeah.
Good on her.
Oh, it's wonderful. Finally, an Australian on a throne somewhere.
He seems quite at home.
Good day. And here's the question that has been quietly rattling palace corridors and political circles alike. Are King Frederik and Queen Mary modernizing the monarchy? Or are they pushing it so hard that even Denmark is starting to shift uneasily in its seat? Because when tradition begins to feel challenged, nerves always follow. Before we dive into this royal balancing act, subscribe to Royal News Daily and click the notifications bell icon. That way, you stay ahead of the conversation instead of reacting to it after the dust settles. Now, let us set the scene. Denmark's monarchy is one of the oldest in the world, built on continuity, predictability, and a very careful relationship with the public. It survives not by force, but by trust. Frederik and Mary walked into this system and immediately began stretching its boundaries, not smashing them, but testing how far they could bend. Here is where the nervousness begins. Frederik's leadership style is direct, visible, and decisive. Mary's influence is structured, strategic, and quietly transformative. Together, they represent motion. And motion is exactly what makes traditional institutions uncomfortable. Think of it like a long-serving government department suddenly being told it needs to innovate. Even if the goal is sensible, the process triggers anxiety. Change means uncertainty. Uncertainty means risk. And risk is not something monarchies are designed to embrace. Transitioning here, let us talk perception. To younger generations, Frederik and Mary look like progress. They speak plainly, engage with modern issues, and appear connected to real-world concerns. To traditionalists, however, this can feel dangerously close to overreach. Monarchs are meant to represent stability, not experimentation. That tension sits at the heart of the current unease. From an Australian political perspective, this feels very familiar. Leaders are constantly pressured to modernize without alienating their base. Move too cautiously and you lose relevance. Move too boldly and you trigger backlash. Frederik and Mary are walking that same tightrope, just with crowns instead of campaign posters. Another source of nervous energy comes from visibility. Frederik and Mary are present, frequently, strategically, in a media environment where attention equals influence. This level of exposure raises questions. Are they shaping conversations that should remain neutral? Are they becoming too influential by simply being too effective? Here is the clever part. They're not breaking rules. They're operating within them, but they're using every inch of space those rules allow. And when leaders maximize their mandate, observers often mistake confidence for rebellion. Queen Mary's role deepens this unease. Her focus on social priorities, institutional efficiency, and modern engagement subtly redefines what the monarchy does day to day. This is not ceremonial adjustment. It is functional evolution. And evolution, by definition, leaves something behind. Critics worry that this pace risks disconnecting the monarchy from its most loyal supporters. Supporters argue that loyalty without relevance is meaningless. Again, the debate sounds remarkably like something lifted straight from Australian political commentary. Now here's the hook that keeps analysts watching closely. Nervousness does not mean failure. In fact, it often means impact. Institutions rarely react strongly to leadership that does nothing. They react when leadership shifts expectations. The suspense lies in longevity. Can Frederick and Mary maintain this momentum without triggering resistance that outweighs support? Can modernization remain measured rather than momentum-driven? These questions do not have immediate answers, and that uncertainty is exactly why the conversation feels charged. What's clear is this: Denmark's monarchy is no longer operating on autopilot. It is actively negotiating its role in a modern democracy. That negotiation will naturally make people uneasy, especially those who prefer predictability over progress. So is this a modern monarchy or a royal rebellion? The honest answer is neither, and both. It is a calculated evolution that feels rebellious only because it refuses to stand still. Whether history views Frederick and Mary as visionary reformers or as leaders who push too far will depend on how well they listen as they lead. Because in politics, royal or otherwise, confidence earns respect, but balance earns survival. Thank you for watching Royal News Daily.